Well, one of the race meetings of the year will take place at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth on Saturday, the 7th of January. And really nice to have Candice Bass Robinson on the line. And Candice, a very happy new year to yourself, your family, and Candice Bass Racing. All the best for 2023.
Thanks, Dee. Same to you. May it be a good one.
Well, all the best with 2023. It's been an absolute roller coaster ride for you, 2022, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, super. I don't know about a roller coaster ride. I wouldn't say. I think it's been a great ride. We've had a wonderful season. It's been a great year. Obviously, I've had a great team of horses, and it's been successful. And hopefully, it continues to roll on into 2023.
Well, we've got a replay of Charles Dickens' last start, so we're just going to go into the latter stages of that run, and I'll come back to you, Candice. So let's go to that replay of his win in the Hollywoodbets Guineas.
To pick them off one by one up the outside. It's Charles Dickens that got driven into the lead. Ladies and gentlemen, you seeing something special as Charles Dickens shows he's a champion. He wins the Guineas easy. Charles Dickens from Cousin Casey at my command, and then came Royal Aussie.
Well, if you're a racing fan, you'll never get tired of watching that replay over and over and over. Candice, when I chatted to you last time prior to the running of that race, you did mention to me that he's a horse that you'd like to look back and say, he's one of the best that I've trained and I've blessed to be associated with him. And I think that performance last time out has certainly, elevated his status to that level.
Obviously it was a superb win. He, going into the Guineas, we obviously knew we had a good horse, but you never know how good they really are. He's taken it step by step, and every time he's run, he's kind of moved up in class and took on his strongest class of horse in the Guineas, and obviously he won it. He won it with authority, and I think that kind of sort of justified to me, as I say, I knew he was good, but I didn't know how good until he'd gone into the Guineas and obviously done it.
Yeah, that was winning against the best of his generation. And, with all due respect to the entire field, as we've lost Candice there, so we're going to try and get her back on the line whilst we have the field up. Charles Dickens' win last time out, and that was just superb, to say the least. Because he made that field look ordinary. And I say ordinary because, you had an Equus champion in that field in Cousin Casey, who was just, superb as a juvenile, capping it off with that Group 1 win as well. And then, prior to that, Charles Dickens, he made his presence felt against older horses. Apologies that we just lost you there for a second, but you were saying that he wowed you and your stable as well, the way he disposed of the opposition last time out, Candice.
Yeah, no, he did. As I say, you've got a good horse, and you don't really, I never really knew how good he was until he'd taken on that opposition in a Group 1 against his own age group, and he won it with authority. So. It was an extremely exciting win, and as I say, I think I've got an extremely exciting horse, and I think he's got a great future ahead of him. So I do look forward to the next step, which will be Saturday.
For us racing fans, we just want to know so much more about him. And, one of the things that I've just been chatting with guys about is, to you as a trainer who knows him best, is there anything in particular that just separates him from the ordinary horse or the regular horse? Because he's really a special horse, isn't he? Is there anything in particular that just separates him from the balance?
Look, these, good horses always have got extra special things about them. I think, if you look at him from a conformational point of view, I think he's got an incredibly good depth on him from his, if you take from his wither area down, through his girth. He's so deep through his girth. He's got an incredibly powerful, or athletic, should I say. I wouldn't say powerful and athletic hind leg on him. And I think those are probably his two sort of biggest factors looking at him from a conformational point of view. And he's got a lot of scope to him as well. He's not an overly big horse. He's a medium-sized horse. And I think, watching him when he gallops, he's obviously got an exceptionally big lung room. He's got a lot of lung room as well, because he's always been one of those horses that's never really blowing very hard. He can, after workout, he might blow for 5 minutes, then he recovers so quickly after his work. So those factors, obviously, for me, just looking at him, and also if you watch, he hasn't got the biggest of strides. He's not a big long striding horse, but his legs. If you watch him when he runs, his legs move incredibly fast, and he covers a lot of ground. He's got a great turn of foot. He's got an incredibly phenomenal turn of foot, I think, which is probably his biggest asset. I mean, he quickens up within a matter of strides. And then, just on another sort of note, he's got the most amazing temperament. He's such a laid-back horse. He takes nothing out of himself. He's just generally, as a horse, he's not a stressed horse. He's not uptight. He's just relaxed, and he obviously does what he needs to do on the track. And he's got an appetite on him as well. He never leaves a single oat, and I think those are all the attributes that makes him a good horse.
Well, you briefly answered my second question. That's going to be, how is he, as a racehorse back home? But how has he taken that last start? And you know him best, and his preparation coming into this race.
Yeah, look, I mean, he's only, we forget he's only 3. He had a prep run, and then 3 weeks later he had a hard run in the Guineas. It wasn't an easy race for him. I think it took its toll on him a little bit. It was probably the lightest he has come back from a race after that, which is understandable, because it was a tough Group 1. So I think he felt his race a little bit after that, and I did say prior to that I would make the decision as to whether I felt he had recovered enough to go another 3 weeks, and then into another Group 1 at weight for age, terms against older horses, which is not going to be an easy task for him either. I mean, he has to step up again, and I've freshened him up nicely. I gave him some nice work on the cinders last Saturday, and it was enough for me to say that I think he has recovered enough, and I'm happy to run him on Saturday. As I say, he's got a big task ahead of him on Saturday. It's not against his own age group, but I'm very happy with his prep going into the race now. And as today I feel really good about him. So we'll have to see how he fares against those older horses. They're multiple Group 1 winners, and he is only a 3-year-old, and I think, as I said, he's got a big task ahead of him. But I do feel that he's good enough, and either way on Saturday, if he wins easily, or he doesn't perhaps win on Saturday, I still think he's an extremely exciting horse, and I think he's got a great future ahead of him. He's got improving to do still as a younger horse, and I don't want to put him over the edge. He's got a long and lustrous career ahead of him, but as I say, he's a truly exciting horse, and I'm very happy with his prep. He's got to step up again on Saturday, but I think he's capable of doing it.
You've answered everything that I wanted to ask, so all the best to yourself and your team with Charles Dickens on Saturday, Candice. We're just going to briefly touch on the other races. We'll move along to race number 5, where you got the 3 runners there, Candice. Number 6 going up, number 9 Golden Hostess, and number 1 Santa Maria. In the 5th race, just comments on them?
Yeah, look, all 3 of my fillies are pretty good. These, there wasn't much between them in the last race where they all met together. Santa Maria, I think, will prefer the extra little bit of ground this time around. She's doing well. Golden Hostess, I think, is a nice roughie if you're doing exotics and things like that. Coming back to the sprint, she's particularly well at the moment, and obviously getting a bit of weight from those fillies. I wouldn't leave her out. Going up, I think, might be a slightly better filly over a bit further. I think she's probably looking for a 14 or so, but there wasn't anything available, I think, until after Met Day or so. So I've opted to just give her another sprint. She's not the easiest of fillies to train most of the time, but as I say, all my fillies are pretty well. I think it's a very open race, but they'll be right there.
Okay, in the 7th race, which is the Group 1 Cartier Paddock Stakes, over 1,800 meters, you got Marina. Now, last time out, I must just compliment you. You sounded so confident in just the space and the preparation that you had her in going into that race, and you proved to be spot on. She won really well.
Yeah, I think, Deez, I've always said all along, that I think she'll be at her best as a late 4-year-old, 5-year-old. She certainly has really been doing well this season down here. I had last season, towards the end of the season, she wasn't really at her best. I never had her at her best. She had 1 or 2 little small issues, which we managed to iron out, in Durban. And, she's a much stronger filly now. She really won, well the other day. And she's taken that run very well. She looks outstanding at the moment. And I think, look, it's tough. I mean, you're taking on Captain's Ransom, Brett Crawford's filly. She's pretty much, well, she is unbeaten. And, she did beat us the last time, although she did get 12 kilos from us. She has to be respected as well. So, and then obviously Sparkling Water, your July winner, she's also a runner. So it's not an easy race. I think it's an extremely competitive race and probably one of the better races to watch on the day, or more exciting races. But my filly's in great shape. And I think she'll, if she doesn't win, she will be right there.
And then the 10th race, which is the Chairman's Cup, it's over 2,500 meters. You got Arctic Drift in the race, Candice. Now, last time out, he was one of the horses that really caught the eye.
Yeah, he was running on strongly. I think he and a horse is another horse, that's, I think better now as an older horse, much easier for me to train as an older horse, and I was able to go the trip that I think he has been looking for. And he ran on strongly last time. He's not always the easiest of horses to get into the race in the early parts. Again, he's drawn 10. But I think at the weights, it's a pretty similar field, barring 1 or 2 horses. And I think at the weights this time around, I think he's good value.
Well, it's truly valuable minutes and hours prior to the running of Saturday's race on this Friday. And we really thank you for giving off your time. Greatly appreciated.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks a lot to Candice Bass Robinson and her thoughts on Saturday's feature races at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. An absolute star.